I'm Sean from Third Coast Percussion, and we're so excited to perform our concert program, Paddle to the Sea, for you this evening. We get a lot of questions about the instruments that we use in this program. They're from all over the world, and we also include some basic household objects in our total setup. So we thought it would be a nice idea for us to give you a little tour of our setup and answer some questions that you might have. If anything pops up that we don't answer, feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll hopefully get to answer those questions during our Q&A later this evening. So first up, we have these awesome instruments here that are called mbira, M-B-I-R-A, and these are from Zimbabwe. We've studied the mbira with our teacher Musikiwa Chingotsa. It's music of the Shona people of Zimbabwe, and these feature prominently during the ending of the performance. You play these instruments using your thumbs, like this. That's why we have to not forget to grow out our fingernails whenever we play Paddle to the Sea. Typically, you play them inside a resonating gourd called a deze, but we don't have those, so tonight we're going to use these lavalier mics so that you can hear them at home. You can see that there's bottle caps attached to the mbira. That's to create a buzzing sound. That's a sound that's desired in Shona music. So when you hear buzzing when we're playing the mbira, don't adjust your audio. It's supposed to be like that. And last thing to say is that this particular type of mbira is called mbira davadzimu. It's like a grand piano version of an mbira. You might have seen other versions of mbira or related instruments in import shops or small little tined instruments called kalimbas. These are like the big version, mbira davadzimu. Okay, over at this table, we have some fun stuff. We have some pu'ili that Peter picked up in Hawaii. These are awesome. They're used in hula. During parts of the show, we put on thimbles, these guys, on our fingers, so that we can both click on things and scrape things. It just makes it a little louder than our fingers. Over here, we have wine glasses to do that rubbing trick that you've probably tried out at a fancy restaurant before when you were a kid to annoy your parents. Over here, we have a marimba, and this instrument features prominently in most of our music, actually, but especially in tonight's program. Each one of us was actually going to play marimba solo at one point. And we use all different sorts of mallets on the marimba, yarn mallets, special slap mallets to create lots of different sounds. Often we're holding 2 mallets in each hand at the marimba, kind of like this, which is a technique that you learn if you study classical percussion. Marimba is like the big cousin of a xylophone. It's the range is a lot wider, so you can play higher and lower, and especially the low end is very resonant. So you hear a lot of marimba tonight. Over on this table, we have our very fun knick-knack area. So these are some objects that you might find around your house. You have some chopsticks to play with, rice bowls. All of those are a specific pitch, and we're using that way. Just some basic coffee mugs, some glass bottles, and actually ceramic tiles. More thimbles, some typical percussion instruments like shakers, woodbox, and a wiro. And you see on this table, and on actually a few of the tables scattered throughout the setup, these desk bells. And these are just educational instruments that you'll find in a lot of general music classrooms. And they are just like a hotel reception desk bell, but these are tuned to specific pitches. We also have some sandpaper blocks, which we use on drums to create a really cool swishy sound. These are just congas over here. All right, over at this setup, we have a glockenspiel, or a set of concert bells, that's what those are. We have a bowl of water, which creates a cool sound, and Rob will play it at one point at the beginning of Act 2, and he'll actually bend the pitch by changing the level of the water. This set of really beautiful bells here are called Armglocken. They are tuned Swiss cowbells. So each one of these actually is tuned to a very specific pitch. This one is a D. And we set it up just like you would set up a piano. See, these are the white keys, these are the black keys. And we have just about 2 octaves of them here. Down on the table we have more desk bells, a variety of mallets, some slats of wood. We have a set of beautiful tuned resonant metal discs called crotales. You can strike the crotales for a very high sound. You can also bow the crotales. This is a concert bass bow for a very high sustained sound. This instrument's really fun. This is called a melodica, and you might have seen this featured on the Stephen Colbert show. The band leader plays one of those. Typically it has a short mouthpiece, but David plays the melodica and he needs to play multiple instruments at once. He needs to play the crotales, he needs to play the Armglocken. So we came up with the idea of putting a surgical tube at the end of it so he could be playing an instrument here and blow into the melodica. I'll let Dave play the melodica for you later in the show. This is a beautiful pitched tie gong right here, and it's enough just to hit it because it's gorgeous. And you'll hear that featured at the end of one of our Philip Glass arrangements at the Amazon River. Back over here, at the low end of the marimba, we have some concert toms, basic drums that you would find on a drum set. We have a tuned temple bowl or wren, which Peter stirs and creates a very beautiful sustained pitch on. You can also strike it like that. We have a little shaker that Peter plays. A vibraphone. A vibraphone is like the marimba, except it has metal bars and it has a pedal down here that when you press on it, it makes the bars resonate. All right, so vibraphone will also feature very prominently. We use these tiny bows on the vibraphone. These are Incredibows. We're going to make a video about these because a lot of percussionists ask us about it. They're neat because they're not as long as the typical concert bass bow, so we can keep them on our stick trays. We can put them in our stick bags here, and they don't take as much room. These are tuned pipes. This is just typical conduit, inch diameter, and we cut them to be specific pitches. More wine glasses. This is a very fun table over here. This is a setup that David plays. We have Coqui Rico. We have more ceramic tiles, a shaker, djembe, bongos, a log drum with more sandpaper on it. We have a sistrum that Rob and his dad made. Sistrum is very similar to a tambourine, except it doesn't have a drum head on it. And this is maybe one of my favorite instruments in the whole show. This is called, has a couple different names, a devil chaser or a cricket collar, but essentially it's just a piece of bamboo that's been cut, and there's a slit in it so that these two pieces here resonate, and it creates an awesome sound. If you cover up the hole, it sounds like that. If you uncover the hole, so you'll hear David play the cricket collar, or the devil chasers. He actually even plays, I'm not sure if you can see this, Colin is operating the camera right now. Thanks, Colin. Down here we have a tambourine on the floor. So like we weren't doing enough, David actually plays a tambourine with his foot at one point in the program. Getting close to the end of our setup here. This is an awesome setup. This is a guitar, which we actually don't play. We don't pick up and play like a typical guitar. We use it as a percussion instrument. So Peter plays a lot of different sounds on this instrument. One, he has a super bouncy ball that he's cut in half, and he's created a mallet that creates a friction sound. He also put a little bit of molding on there, and the guitar acts as a resonating body on that. He actually even goes like this. So keep an eye out for all the different techniques that Peter does on the guitar over here. This is super cool. This is called a hydrophone. We got this microphone to perform a piece by our friend Nathan Davis, and it's just a small piezo microphone that has the casing of which has been sealed in that like plastic dip, waterproof sealant. So you can pick up all of the sounds that you make on this water bowl. So you'll hear that tonight. You'll hear him playing some things and dipping it in the water. Very cool instrument, the water bowl with a hydrophone. And then the last setup is the station that David plays most of the time, which is a combination of a synthesizer, keyboard, and like half of a drum set. So you'll see him playing the keyboard often with his left hand, and it'll be attached to a computer so that he can change the sound that's coming out of here through different patches in Ableton software. And then you'll see him playing the drum set with his right hand and his right foot. There's a volume pedal down here for the synth. Lots of different cool cymbal stacks over here. Zildjian cymbals, combination of a spiral trash, a beautiful, nice, big ride cymbal with some splash cymbals on top of it. David even picks up a small cymbal, puts it on top of the snare drum at one point, and he has some cool things over here. Again, another sandpaper block to use on the drum, and this ceramic tile. So that's a lot of our setup. I'm sure I missed some things. So if you see anything tonight that you would like to ask a question about, please put it in the comments below. And we hope you enjoy our performance of Paddle to the Sea. Thanks for tuning in.